Hey everybody, it's Chris from Out West with Chris, and today I am doing the BattlBoxForum $10 Survival Kit Challenge. This is something I really like about the BattlBoxForum community. It's made up of people that are subscribers to the BattlBox subscription service. And it's folks that, go on and chat about the gear that's provided, different survival thoughts. And it's turned out to be a pretty cool community, and I'm really enjoying chatting with folks on there. If you have any other questions about the BattlBox forums, just go to BattlBoxForum.com and you can get in on the $10 Survival Kit Challenge. Just look around in the forum and you'll see something about it somewhere. I'll have a link in the description below. So a few days ago on the forums, the Grizzly, who I'm going to link to his YouTube channel below as well, the Grizzly brought up doing a challenge. It wasn't a video challenge per se. I think a few people are doing a video for it and putting that on YouTube. So the challenge is to spend $10 and make a survival kit. I figured, hey, I'll give it a shot. I'm not a survival expert or prepping expert or anything like that. But I'm not a stupid guy. I can figure this out. The rules of the challenge are pretty simple. You have $10 that you can spend at a Dollar Tree, dollar store, one of those types of spots. So from those 10 items, you need to be able to start a fire, you need to have 2 meals, and you also need to accomplish the 5 following things. One of your items needs to be able to cut, one of them needs to be able to combust, so some sort of combustion, fire again. You need to have some sort of cover, you need to have cordage, and you need to have a container. The container needs to be waterproof for 30 seconds so that you can keep all of your stuff dry. One of the twists is that you can use an item from a previous battle box. It's got to be one of the basic level items, but you can throw one of those items in. I really liked the idea of this challenge because it got me thinking, what can I use that isn't super expensive that would help me in a survival scenario? If there ever is a shit hit the fan moment, you're gonna have to think outside the box and use stuff that's at hand in order to get by. So I think this is a great exercise. So let's get started. I went to the Dollar Tree with $10 and this is what I came up with. I have my containers right here. So these aren't overly huge, and that's part of the reason why I got 2. I didn't know if I could fit everything in this kit into one container. That was a major concern of mine. And these were the most waterproof looking containers that I could find at my local Dollar Tree. So I decided to get 2. So to accomplish the 2 meal portion, I got 2 things of Vienna sausages. These were 50 cents each. You got to be careful with these. They have a ton of sodium, so that's going to lead to dehydration. But they also have a little bit of protein, and they've got some, much needed calories. So in one of these, you're going to get about 500 calories. Calories are good in a survival situation. You need that energy, right? So for 50 cents each, I figured, hey, that's a no-brainer. The other thing I got was some pork and beans. Good can of pork and beans. In this, you're gonna get another 600 calories or so and quite a bit of protein. Each serving has 6 grams of protein. That's gonna be pretty helpful. So my thought was, I could use this guy and mix the pork in with it, or just eat 2. The other thing about this is you can actually use this can. You wouldn't want to do it a lot, but you can use the can to heat up your food, okay? So, there's that aspect of cooking. I couldn't find anything that I could really cook with. I thought about getting some aluminum foil and then making a bowl out of it, but that's pretty flimsy, and the foil that they have at Dollar Tree just isn't that great. So, it's kind of likely that you'd actually burn through it. So this is what I settled on for my 2 meals. So next up, I was looking for a tarp. I couldn't find a tarp. So what I had to settle with was this drop cloth. It is a 9 foot by 12 foot 0.7 mil thick drop cloth. And this isn't gonna really hold up to the elements too much. What I'm thinking I'm gonna have to do with something like this is I'm gonna have to double layer it, run some sort of ridge line, and then I would probably take boughs of a tree, like an evergreen tree of some sort, and lay them over to help shed more water and build a semi-permanent shelter. That's kind of what I would have to do with something like this. I was looking for a small tarp, but I couldn't find one, so I had to settle on this drop cloth. I think it'll work. It'll help keep rain out if I double layer it, and it also help trap heat into a semi-permanent shelter. That covers my other C of cover. So to cover the cut category, I found these 2 knives, and I figured I'd go ahead and get a pack of 2 knives, because I figured the knives there wouldn't be super sharp and they wouldn't be very durable. So I'd have a backup knife. I'd have one to start using and then a backup. These don't feel too bad. They're partially serrated. They look like they got a 3rd tang or 1/4 tang. Pretty thin, pretty bendy. They're not very high quality knives. I don't know if you could really count on these to do any bushcraft type of cutting, that type of stuff, but it's a blade, it's a good start, and you've got 2 of them, so that's a bonus. To cover my cordage, I went ahead and got this 3-pack of jute twine. And it's not gonna be the best cordage in the world, but it's gonna double actually to help me start fires. So, you can use jute twine to, fray it out a little bit and catch a spark with a ferro rod or something like that as a fire starter. So that's pretty handy. When you're putting together a kit, things that have more than one purpose are great. So keep that in mind when you're putting your kit together. You get 3 of these. Each one I think is about 130 feet. So you get quite a bit of cordage. Something like this is gonna hold up okay. You might wanna double wrap or braid these to make a stronger line if you need a stronger line for something. There's nothing wrong with braiding them and making a stronger line by combining 3 or 4 or 5 pieces of cordage. Nothing wrong with that at all. To enhance my cordage, I went ahead and got this 2-pack of electrical tape. So electrical tape, you've got quite a few different things you can use with these. They can help in first aid. If you slice open your finger, you could wrap it with electrical tape. You can, spin the electrical tape to actually make some fairly durable but somewhat elastic cordage too. So it kind of helps with the cordage category, and it can be used to help secure things. If you need to, like if you wanted to use this as some sort of container and put something in there after the lid's been cut off, you could take your electrical tape, wrap it over to keep whatever's inside secure. And I think this will be a good addition to my kit. So basically with that, I've got most of my stuff covered, and I had $2 left to go ahead and spend. So I've got the cut, the cover, the cordage, 2 mils, containers. I don't have my combustion just yet. I'll get to that in a minute. So I wanted to enhance my kit with some basic first aid stuff. So I found this little first aid kit. It doesn't have a whole lot. It's got, some bandages, some small ones, some big ones, and then some antiseptic towelettes. And then it comes in this little carrying case. It's a very basic first aid kit. To add on to that, I went and got this support bandage. So, if you turn an ankle or something, you're not going to be totally debilitated, and this will help hold things, kind of in place to, help out. If you were to break something and you needed to splint something, you could use this and some branches to help keep your arm, firm in place. So the bandages come with these little pins, the little butterfly, I think, pins. Overall, I think this will be another decent addition. You could probably think of a few other ways to utilize something like this. But yeah, wanted to have it to kind of add a little first aid element to my kit. So those are my 10 items. That was $10.68. The challenge for the $10 was $10 pre-tax, since, you know, everybody's gonna have a little bit different tax rate. So pretty happy with that. But I'm missing a component. That component is the combustion component. And I started thinking back about different basic level battle boxes, and it just turns out we had a firebox for mission 17 2 months ago. So I started thinking about the items that were in there. So for me, this was a no-brainer. This is the Pocket Bellows fire starting kit. And if you saw the battle box, or if you got it, you're probably gonna agree this is a pretty good little item to throw in here. It's all in its own little waterproof container, or semi-waterproof. And you have these, they're called Battlebee fire fuses, these little fire fuses. They'll help get a fire going, and that combined with maybe a little jute cord and stuff you have laying around in nature, you can get a pretty good fire going pretty easily. It also has a ferro rod. It's a small ferro rod, but you know, it is a ferro rod, so it's gonna spark. So it'll work. And then you have this. And I figured, you know, this could have a couple different uses. This is for stoking your flame. It's a little pocket bellow. But I'm thinking you could probably figure out a few different uses for this. You know, you could use it as a straw if you're on, you know, the bank of a creek and you want to get some water. You could use it as a straw of some sort. And I'm sure there are other things that you could think of, you know, with all that free time on your hands, you're going to think of stuff. All right, so it's time to pack all this stuff up, see how it fits in here. I'm kind of glad I got two, because I don't think everything would fit in here. Let me see if I can fit it all into one. That would be ideal. Yeah, I don't think everything's gonna fit. Okay, so it's a good thing I got two. I'm gonna put the knives in a separate container from the drop cloth, just because I don't want this, you know, thin drop cloth to get cut while I'm moving things around. Let me put those pork and beans in there. That'll do it for that one. And then there's a little bit of room to put other stuff in, you know, if you came across something in your travels. All right, so there it is. There you have it. Everything's all packed up. All right, I got a 5-gallon bucket full of water. I am going to dip these in, start my timer. All right, let's do this. Start. Pushing it all the way to the bottom. At 10 seconds. Oh, I got bubbles coming out. Not a good sign. 20 seconds. $30 seconds. All right. Let's see how much water got in here. I think a little bit might have. You know, it actually looks pretty dry. Yeah, let me see. I don't think there's much water that made it in. Got some of that jute twine at the bottom. That'll soak up water. Let's see if it's wet. Nope, it's bone dry. So, success. 30 seconds submerged, and it worked just fine. So, that I'm actually surprised about. That was one thing I was really worried about with these containers, whether or not they could go 30 seconds underwater and stay, you know, dry. So, pretty pleased with that. So that part's done. So let's make some fire back here. I'm in my backyard. These are pretty cool. Battlebee fire fuses. Get my ferro rod out. Take some of this jute twine. using this knife that I got. We're not gonna go make a blazing fire right now just because I don't think that'd be a good idea. Let's rough up this guy too. Let's get that right there. Jute twine went. There we go. Pretty good little fire. You know, that jute twine did so good. I'm just gonna test it with the jute twine itself. See how it does. It's pretty good. Look at that. Easy as pie, you know? All right, so that's it. That's the completion of the BattlBoxForum $10 survival kit challenge. Pretty cool challenge. I really had fun time thinking about this, putting it together, and testing some of my theories out, and it looks like it would work. The nice thing about this is it got me thinking, what can I use that's around the house? Small stuff for little kits, you know, that type of thing. Cool exercise to do. Shout out to the Grizzly for posting it, coming up with the challenge. Like I said before, I'll have links to the BattlBox forums and to the Grizzly's YouTube channel down in the description below, as well as the full set of rules. Hey, if you like this video, please click the thumbs up button and subscribe. If you have any ideas of how I could have done things differently or comments, things you thought that were cool, please leave them below. And as always, thanks for getting out west with Chris.